All right. Now, for anyone that's not able to hear me, please let me know. If you're on my Facebook friend, let me know that you can hear me or can't hear me. I've did some adjustments, so perhaps you can hear me now. Inshallah. Okay. I'm being told I'm being heard. So that's good. Now, one of the books that I have, and also have a few videos that's derived from Facebook. Um, you can see these online on YouTube. They're not created by me, but there's some of the videos that I've observed, and I think some of them are pretty good discussing this matter. The Sahaba series by The Merciful Servant, no spaces, The Merciful Servant. He's got a collection of films that I've, were pretty impressed with how they were put together. The story of Hamza, for example. And also I have in my possession um, a book titled The Companions of the Prophet, as I was saying. Here's the book. This particular book is by Abdul Wahid Hamid. And the objective here is to be able to try to see if we can discuss. Because, see, here's the thing that I mean, I have an opinion. I got a brother who's responding. So I want to invite people to go to this website, SJOLMediaThoughtJournalLive11112015. It's an open broadcast. Our objective is to be able to get people more involved with everyday spiritual discussions, everyday life events, things that we go through in our lives that, we might find standing out as important to us. Let's start off with just a quick view of some of the things. Now some people may not have a clue of what the word Sahaba means. And, for those of us that have been, upon the path of the rightly guided predecessors, translated as the Salaf Asali, those of us who are striving to adhere to the Quran and the Sunnah, we say that we're Muslims. Now, there's a lot that, that entails when we, claim that we're Muslim. But for the sake of the discussion here, we want to leave the floor open for whoever feels they have a spiritual inclination or a spiritual flow to present their 2 cents, if you will, or 10 cents, and so we can break bread and have a discussion, and perhaps, as we would say, come to common terms. Now, for the record, these things are, this broadcast is live, but it is being recorded. So worry not. It's going to be it's going to be found on our website, and anytime you log in, you should be able to come across the necessary details that would
and I'm paraphrasing it, I encourage everyone to read, but he explains that the Quran is a guide for mankind.
Right.
So now, as you're reading this, you're reading these stories, and it's like, well, what's the point of telling these stories? Now, the point of telling these stories is, look at our situation today. Because our army is not in every single place, sagging in our faces.
Wow.
Now, we have to look at that as an example. The odd thing about that is one of the most oppressed Muslims on the planet, has been the Philistines.
Okay.
And if you look at that, they are in the exact same land that the Jews were in when they met their army to sat in their faces. And I'll point to a point when Genghis Khan was king of the Mongolians, he had never attacked the Muslims. And there's something very interesting that he said in history. He said when when he would go and conquer places, he would say, you have to look into what you have done, that God has brought a wrath like me upon you. This is one of his famous sayings. That when he would conquer a place, he would say to them, you have to ask yourself what you have done to bring a wrath, that God would send a wrath like me upon you.
Right.
Now, if you look at it, he didn't attack the Muslims, but Kublai Khan did. Now, look at the condition that the Muslims were in when Kublai Khan attacked. Again, when you come off that path, and an army comes in and is fighting in your face, and then you can't grasp why that army is fighting in your face, you prolong yourself into that torment until you wake up and return to Allah. So as you look at it, you hear many people, and they'll say, we are going to do this.
Okay.
Our might is going to bring about a change here. This group, is going to bring about a change here. But where is the humbleness of saying, oh, Lord, help us in this?
Right.
We pray to Allah that, inshallah, Allah will bring about a change in here.
So let me ask you then, so there are people that are amongst us that coming from their mouths, from the depths of their heart, is still the word or the speech of them believing in Allah, both phonetically in their active life. When they get up, they literally believe that Allah is, subhanahu wa ta'ala, is directly involved, like literally directly involved in their day-to-day life, that when they speak out their mouth something, a word, an expression of supplication, a dua, that one is actually hearing them and actually, able to do something in regards to their predicament. Realistically, in reality, not just in.
100%. I can tell you, I believe that wholeheartedly, 100%.
Yes. So
there is a high power in which is Allah that hears my dua.
Because
and his answer towards my dua is his will, because he's the master, not me.
Right.
And I accept his answer, though they upset me. I have no choice but to accept his answer because we're hearing the test.
Because there's people that would say, and it's kind of funny because, the Quran quotes people saying this to the Prophet Muhammad, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, peace and prayers be upon him, as saying, these are just stories you're narrating of old. These are just tales you're saying to us. Like a fairy tale or some type of, just stories that have been passed down, to put children to sleep or something like that. But if the people of today are saying the exact same things as the people that encountered that the Prophet Muhammad encountered, what are we to say about that?
And here's an interesting point. Look at this interesting point. When Kublai Khan attacked the Muslims, right?
Yes.
He attacked Baghdad, right?
Yes.
One of the things that they were doing was they were destroying the libraries. He was under different influences, but that's for a different topic. But he was destroying libraries. It's a very interesting conversation that he had with the king, in which he said to the king was hungry, and he had brought the king gold and said, eat it. And the king was saying to him, I can't eat this. And basically he was explaining to the king, if you can't eat it, why are you hoarding it?
Wow.
Why did you build these big gates that you built? And when you can make those gates to speed us for you and to fight, why didn't you give this gold to the people so that they would love you and fight for you? And that message that he had said to him was recorded, and we can hear that. But as you look at it, what was the thing that removed the oppression from the Muslims? Was it the army? No, the army did not conquer the Mongolians.
Right.
Was it their might? No, their army, none of that conquered the Mongolians. It was a man who was walking on a road, who was a humble Muslim, who was walking on a road, and he got in the way of a Mongolian. The Mongolian said, how dare you to get in the way of my caravan? He said, do you think you've been witnessing my dog? And the man said to him, if Allah forgives me, I'm better than your dog.
Okay.
But if Allah does not king of the Mongolians.
Wow.
I want you to teach me Islam. But not now. When I become king, I want you to come and teach me Islam. And as history teaches that when he became king, that man's son actually went and gave dawah to him, and the king of the Mongolians became Muslim.
From that dawah effort that he gave.
From that dawah effort,
wow.
The king of the Mongolians became Muslim, and it ended the oppression that the Muslims were going through the Mongolians.
And what I can see out of this is a barrier being broken, because a lot of times when we think of rulers, it seems that when we think of rulers and people in the positions of high authority, that they're untouchable, that they can't be reached. And I often ask the person, one time, I often ask some folks, I say, has anybody ever given dawah for say the president, for example? Has anybody ever approached any, maybe Putin or somebody, and actually given them dawah, like sound dawah, to where they would be able to receive it? Or do we just think, oh, well, these people are like this, or these people are like that, they won't ever accept it? We have all these different opinions and whatnot that prevents us from pushing, our dawah efforts, our propagation efforts as we should. Am I making any sense?
Yeah, 100%. And that's another, and that is the key. What you said is the key point. Because now take Israel, which is the hardest stance, period.
Right.
Aside from giving Obama or Putin dawah, think about
right.
Israelis.
Right.
Now, here's a very interesting point that the Quran brings out, that I read from the Quran, and it states, right, in regards to judgment coming down onto a place.
Okay.
And it describes that the prophets that it has always been the way that the prophets will go into a place before the great destruction.
Okay.
To warn the people of the great destruction that is about to befall them, so that to be within fairness, to give them a chance of saying, listen, this is about to come your way, and my whole thing to you is to give you good news and bad news.
Yes.
The good news is that there's a way for you to be saved. You can pray to your Lord. And the bad news is that this thing will come about if you do not cease and desist, or whatever their message was that they will carry on to tell the people. So you look at that and you say, to an example, there are no prophets to come. The Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alayhi wa sallam is the seal on the prophets. But as it is said that we are the messengers of the messenger, and it's our job, it's one of our sole students is to do dawah,
right.
And we are the ones who are supposed to spread this message. So when you look at the example of the Israelis, you will often see Muslims telling them that when we get a chance, we're going to conquer you, we're going to take you, we're going to push you to the sea. But who amongst them are going to the Israelis and saying to them, let me give you dawah? Now they may be upset with what the Israelis are doing, but remember the example of the Mongolians. They're saying to yourself, here, I'm going to give you this. Here's the dawah. You may already know about Islam, but I'm going to give you that dawah, so that when the judgment comes to you, it was fair, because you had that warning.
Right.
So you look at that as an example. It also states, if you look at most of the time, when Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala brought down judgment on Lut and his people, was Lut left in the town? Was his good family left in the town to fall? You can see many examples of this. Were the good people left in the town to fall?
Let me ask you a question that was asked to me at one time, some time ago. Now, we have a belief, right, that Muhammad, peace be upon him, sallallahu alaihi wasallam, was the last prophet and messenger. Now, why do I say that? Because we were talking about Lut and people like that, and the warnings that came to those people. Now, here we are in a time where we see all kinds of the devastation that we find all kinds of heinous acts being accepted as good, and good acts being accepted as heinous. What when a person would ask you, well, where's the prophet for our time, or where is a guide for our time, what is said to them, to a person like this?
When you look at Islam as a whole, Islam was good 1,400 years ago, and it's good today. And the message that the Prophet Muhammad brought 1,400 years ago is good today.
Okay.
So it's up to them if they want to reach into the message that prophet brought, because he's a prophet from our time to the last, because he's the seal of the prophets. And as it says in the Quran, that Allah has perfected his religion, perfected his favor upon us.
Okay.
With this being our Islam. So it's like this is the perfected way to the end.
So that makes it universal then, right?
Yeah, it's universal, yeah. This is the perfected way to the end. The only thing is that many people, they might not want to accept. They might not want to accept. They say, well, we're advanced. We have cell phones and iPads and PlayStations and these things. And we need something to be relative to our time. But to honestly tell you the truth, if they were to focus and spend the time and to read the Hadith and to read the Quran, they would see clearly that Islam is good 1,400 years ago and it's good today.
Wow.
So if you're looking at this, there is a thing where it says the Prophet Muhammad is the seal of the prophets.
Now, what does that mean? When you say he's the seal, what does that mean that he's the seal?
That just in reference to, there were many prophets who were sent to many people. There were many prophets that were sent to many people.
Okay.
But this is the final message. Here goes the final message.
Now, a person might say, well, they fell asleep one night, they had a dream, and here's words that they feel they need to say from their heart. And they say it's from inspiration. What makes this the final message? And what does that mean to say that this is the final message?
Well, the thing about it is that, as it says, that there will be no prophets to come as far as, bringing the message. But it did say that prophetic dreams would continue. So you will have people who will go to sleep, have a dream, and then wake up, and it'll be something relative to their lives.
Does that make them a prophet?
But that does not make them a prophet. That means that they just had a prophetic dream.
Okay.
In regards to them changing something or bringing new teachings or, these things, now that's when you're going off. That's when you're going off to the side. Now, it does state in the Hadith, this is 39, I believe it's Bukhari, it's either Abu Dawood or it's Bukhari in the Book of Battles. It's the first Hadith in Book of Battles, and it basically states in regard to that every 100 years, a revival would come to revive the deen for her.
Okay.
So unlike the other, prophets who had came and their people had, listened to their message, for us, every 100 years, someone comes to revive the deen.
Wow. So you're saying that every 100 years, a new person comes. Is this person? Are you saying this person is a prophet or like a spiritual leader?
And see, me, I take a look from it and I say it was categorized in the Book of Battles.
Okay.
And so I look at it and I say, look at the example of Salahuddin.
Right.
And to say that wasn't a revival to Islam, it's just my opinion, but I look at examples. I look at that as a perfect example.
Now, are these people treated in these spiritual people of the time, if you will, that you're talking about? Are these people, how are they received by the people who they're sent to, if you will?
Yeah, it really doesn't give that detail. It doesn't really give the detail. It just basically states that every 100 years that a revival would send to revive the deen. So,
are we in a time of a new 100 years for a new individual?
There's different perspectives, and I'll tell you this: anytime, and this is a real good point. Anytime you sit and you lecture or you watch a YouTube from a lecture, you know, if you look at the scholars of the past,
okay,
right, they would always emphasize that they could be wrong.
right,
You know, you would see within their writings, they would say, if I have said something wrong, they would make sure to say, I'm not perfect. So if I say something wrong, you know, in regards to them saying something wrong. And the reason for this is that there were things and there were that happened outside of our understanding. Those things that happen outside of our understanding, you know, we can't add those factors in. So when you're doing the math of putting together the mindset of reading the Quran or the Hadith, you have to understand that there is always an X. There is always an X plus 1 equals. And you don't know what that X is. So, that being said, you can look at many things in our time frame that's explained to us in great detail, but some of those details can be wrong, because it's not Quran that's wrong, but it's the interpretation of what these things are meant to mean.
So
that can be wrong. So I look at that and I say, now I bring that to a point to say I could be wrong.
okay,
There were many different ideals on this. There were some ideals that point toward there are many things that are going on in the society that's acceptable today, and it will be explained to you that when you see these things, prepare for the end.
Now I want you to look at this screen here. Are you still able to see your screen? And tell me, there's these ayats from Surah Baqarah. This particular ayat number 2. It kind of stands to be considered. And then as I go to ayah number 3 and 4 in particular, okay, and I'll say what their translation it gives us here. It says, after seeking refuge from Allah with Allah from the rejected Satan, in the name of Allah, most compassionate, most merciful. This is the book about which there is no doubt, a guidance for those conscious of Allah. So does that give the book a sort of a prerequisite for its reading? And why am I asking this? Because if the book has a the Quran has a prerequisite necessary for reading it, okay, then what would bring people to that type of prerequisite so that they could be able to grasp the Quran as it should be grasped?
Yeah, I think belief.
Belief?
Belief.
Okay.
Yeah, belief. As it says, a Muslim is a stranger to the world, but a believer is a stranger to a Muslim. And so these are the things that we have to understand. You can go further when it was said to the Arabs. It says, say not today that you have become a believer, because faith has not reached your heart, but say today that you have become Muslim, because you submit. So it's one thing to submit to Allah. Many people submit to Allah. Even Shaitan has to submit to Allah. What is within that belief? Now, the thing about that is that as we have the will to choose whether to do right or wrong, you know, we look at things as within those things of the belief. So you can have someone who is Hafiz of Quran. He has memorized the entire Hadith, Hafiz of Quran. And as he's walking down the street, he feels proud of his accomplishments. And as you have just taken your Shahada and you walk around the corner, and I'm back like nobody, I'm just, giving a point. But as you walk around the corner, you just left the mosque and you have taken your Shahada.
Right.
And you say to him because you're excited and you're happy, Assalamu alaikum, and he looks at you and is like, beneath me, and keeps moving. How much of that you've memorized have you taken in to do something like that?
Right.
How much of that lesson have you taken in to do something like that? You don't know what favor Allah has for that person. You don't know what position or what further thing that Allah will have to that person. They may be the testament to you, at the moment that you see them, but you don't know the position that they'll have. And I'll give you an example. Could you imagine Malcolm X had just left the mosque? Just imagine Malcolm X had took a regular shahada. The things that he was meant to do, he's still going to do, but he took a regular shahada from a masjid instead of, and Allah guides his mercy whom he wills and however he wills, because he's the master, not us. But just imagine Malcolm X had just took the shahada. He's coming around the corner, and he's excited about being Muslim. He greets someone, and someone sees him and thinks, "Oh, you're beneath me," and keeps moving. And then he's pushed away from the faith and goes back to the streets. Now, think on this. Many people can say Malcolm X, and I'm pretty sure that there's few people who say this, because I know people today who are non-Muslim who read Malcolm X's book and took shahada. So he's still guiding people towards Islam. But as you look at that, there is many people who have taken influence from Malcolm X and has, with the will of Allah, has pushed the deen forward. And I give you an example. Normal Ali Khan, he's a big name.
Okay.
And in one of his stories, he had said that he was a little bit away from his deen. I don't go into details because I don't have those details. But he said that when he went to a MSA, the people at the MSA, he had a friendship with them, and they had invited him to be around them, and he was around Imam Siraj.
Right.
And Imam Siraj had a big impact on Noah Ali Khan's life. Now let's go back to that and say, well, Imam Siraj from their time, and how they not have a big impact on their Islam from Malcolm X.
So, would you say that at least from the perspective outlooking in, that Malcolm X at least concluded his life rightly guided, or was he? What would we consider him as an exemplar type of a person?
I would say, along those steps, I would say the example that his life was the way it was, and we are all tools to be used because Allah is the master.
Okay.
So however he uses us as the tool to accomplish whatever he wants, it's going to be the way that he's going to do it. It's not to point to the fact of saying that we should follow, Malcolm X's example or whatever it is. We have the perfect example. The perfect example is the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam.
I have a question for you. Okay, does it seem like are we in a time where you have many, if you will, I don't want to necessarily say imposters, but like everybody or a nice quantity of people are rushing to be a big somebody in these days and time? Like, you've got so many people across the globe trying to, sort of show off as a leader or someone that's able to save the day, if you will. Is that what's happening?
The thing about it is like, again, we go back to the hadith in regards to it speaks of us following the people before us down the lizard hole. And as we look at that example, we have to say, well, many times when you go to the masjid and you see, even sitting and speaking with others, you will hear positive messages of the Sahabas. You will hear positive messages. But sometimes it's good to hear the negative and the mistakes. Sometimes it's good to hear the mistakes. If you go to a job and you're working at a job and you make a mistake, right? Sometimes those mistakes can be avoided because they record those mistakes and say, look, here was the mistakes that Charlie made before you got here, so try not to do these things. And you can read through and like, wow, I can see myself making that mistake. But Charlie made that mistake, so I'm not going to make it. I'm going to, change that mistake.
Right.
So you look at the children of Israel, how they fell into the Pharisees, and how they fell into, arrogant class that they have added into their religion. So look at the time when Jesus had came to the Pharisees. The Pharisees, which was the governing body of the children of Israel, had considered themselves and their governing body to be above the randomness that is the look for randomness. You can't look for, a rigid sign, because that was the children of Israel's mistake. When the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu came, the children of Israel, they were looking at the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu and saying, well, this doesn't fit into our narrative. Man, this is after the Pharisees.
Right.
I think that they would have learned after the Pharisees, but they was, you don't fit into our narrative, so we're going to reject you.
Right.
Because they wouldn't get into the randomness. Allah knows whatever He wants. So they rejected the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu because he didn't fit into their narrative. They rejected Jesus because he didn't fit into their narrative. Are we rejecting people today because they don't fit into our narrative of what a Muslim is? And are we accepting people today because they fit perfectly into our narrative, but we don't see the behind the scenes? I use celebrities as an example. You can look at many celebrities that they have out there, and we see them one way, but they have a publicist. And that publicist is with them the majority of the time that they're going to be in the limelight. And that publicist is creating an image for you to like. And anytime they want to do something that may not be likable by the masses, that publicist will be there and say, hey, look, don't do this. Don't say that. No, you can't film right now. You film when we start here because this will give you the best image of this person.
Right.
So as you watch 100 videos of that person, you begin to like them. But you don't see their lifestyle, and if you saw their lifestyle, you would say, hey, I have to reject this person because they don't match in with my lifestyle. So I would say the problem with that is that you can see where something can be said by nobody, and people will reject it.
Okay.
And then, say, 2 years later, a Muslim who is more acceptable and well-known throughout the community, he may have heard the message, or the message may have been passed to him, or he may have thought the same thing, and he says it, and that same message will get out to the people, and they'll gladly accept it because it's coming from someone who fits into their narrative.
So
how far down the lizard hole do we go before we're pulled back?
Are you saying that people are more receptive to things that fit into their idea of what truth is?
Exactly. You have it where there are some. I'll give you a perfect analogy.
Okay.
When I was young coming up, there were many influences in my life, good and bad. And inshallah, I've learned only good, things that I can pass forward from those things. But one of the things was in high school, there was a guy who used to always try to teach me Christianity.
Right.
And I guess he felt like I was on the binge of being able to be pulled into Christianity. He would always come to me with points from the Bible, points from the Bible. And then I got to a certain point where I'm like, well, I have to be around this person.
Right.
And I'm not going to be mean to them because they're not me. But it's time for me to really examine and listen to what this guy is saying, and then let him hear it so he can understand what he's saying is wrong.
Okay.
So I began to listen to everything. This guy was like one of the few people, because he was a walking Bible. He basically, it seemed to me like he memorized the whole book. He never ever had a Bible with him, but he knew all the quotes, almost verbatim.
Okay.
And I'm listening to this stuff. So eventually they gave me an awareness of the Bible. But from that awareness, it opened my awareness more towards Islam, because I'm like, well, you don't understand these words that's being said.
Wow.
You're saying these words, but you have to think about it. Look at the example of Tupac.
Right. Let's. I gotta here. Listen, look. Do you ever have those situations where something that you might perceive to be like simple to understand, simple to deal with, and yet somebody doesn't connect the same way, and it's a challenge for them, and they have not the same comprehension of the matter as you do?
I am 1 to 10 is a perfect example of that, brother.
You said Surah Al-Isra, ayat 1 to 2?
1 to 10. The perfect example of that.
Okay.
When I put it forth to people, like I said in the beginning of the broadcast, I get no response back. There's no feedback from it. And for me, I feel like here is something that is very relevant to
Okay.
You can't turn on the news for a month without hearing, or being on your Facebook for 3 days without seeing oppression, if you have Muslims on your page, being done to Muslims. And so, if we're the people of Allah,
أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم.
Right.
بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. سبحان الذي أسرى. أعوذ.
So we have to take that. There's not a piece of it where we say, well, it's there and we don't really have to read it. No, the entire Quran is a guide.
Right.
It's there. I would say that's exactly what you're saying, is something very simple.
Let's check out that surah that you're talking about, if I can. I want to see if we can check out that surah, the surah Al-Isra, ayat 1 through 10. Let's see if we can listen to that. It's a translation in English, and since we're still testing and everything, I want to see how well this is able to get through to people. And just give a second here. This is Surah Isra 1 through 10. I believe it's recited by Qari Ziyad Patel. So let's see what we have here.
بالله من الشيطان الرجيم. بسم الله الرحمن الرحيم. سبحان الذي أسرى بعبده ليلا من المسجد الحرام إلى المسجد الأقصى الذي باركنا حوله لنريه من آياتنا إنه هو السميع البصير. وآتينا موسى الكتاب وجعلناه هدى لبني إسرائيل ألا تتخذوا من دوني وكيلا ذرية من حملنا مع نوح إنه كان عبدا شكورا. وقضينا إلى بني إسرائيل في الكتاب لتفسدن في الأرض مرتين ولتعلن علوا كبيرا. فإذا جاء وعد أولاهما بعثنا عليكم عبادا لنا أولي بأس شديد فجاسوا خلال الديار وكان وعدا مفعولا. ثم رددنا لكم الكرة عليهم وأمددناكم بأموال وبنين وجعلناكم أكثر نفيرا. إن أحسنتم أحسنتم لأنفسكم وإن أسأتم فلها. فإذا جاء وعد الآخرة ليسوءوا وجوهكم وليدخلوا المسجد كما دخلوه أول مرة وليتبروا ما علوا تتبيرا. عسى ربكم أن يرحمكم وإن عدتم عدنا وجعلنا جهنم للكافرين حصيرا. إن هذا القرآن يهدي للتي هي أقوم ويبشر المؤمنين الذين يعملون الصالحات أن لهم أجرا كبيرا وأن الذين لا يؤمنون بالآخرة أعتدنا لهم عذابا أليما.
the recitation of Surah Isra, and that was a citing from ayat 1 through 10. Now, you were discussing some elements about that in your response to what was being asked. Now, can you do you care to further discuss your points on this?
Yeah, I'll give this is a famous story, and it's a famous Islamic story. I've never read it in the hadith, so at this point in my mind, it's just a good story. Right?
Okay.
But it's a perfect analogy of the topic, and it was a people who used to worship a tree, and there was a believer who was upset that the people were worshiping the tree. So he decided that he was going to take an axe and go and chop down the tree so that the people would stop worshiping the tree.
Wow.
And on his path to chop down the tree, Shaitan had came into his path and had stopped him from going down to chop down the tree. And he said, listen, if you don't chop down this tree, I will give you 5 dinars every day that you don't chop down this tree. So the man took the 5 dinars and he left. And every day for about 3 or 5 days or so, he came back to collect the 5 dinars.
Okay.
So I missed a key point of the story that he actually defeated Shaitan. Shaitan was stopping him from going to the tree, and he chopping the tree, and he defeated Shaitan. And in Shaitan's defeat, he had offered him the 5 dinars. So he takes the 5 dinars, and day after day he comes back to get the dinars. So after 5 days or 3 days or so, so many days, he comes back and Shaitan doesn't give him any dinars. So he said to Shaitan that he's going to defeat you. I'm going to defeat you. And he goes to defeat Shaitan, and Shaitan defeats him. Now he's thinking in his mind that the first time that I came down, I defeated you easily. What happened now? And it's explained to him, and I said this is a story in my mind because I've heard this, many times, but I've never seen the hadith, and they was never quoted as being hadith.
Right.
But it was explained to him that the first time you came down here, it was for the sake of Allah that you was going to chop down that tree. So you defeated me. But now, you want to chop down that tree and you want to fight me over the 5 dinars that I was supposed to give you.
Right.
It's not for the sake of Allah, it's for the sake of dinars.
What's for the sake of Allah?
No, the first time when he was going to chop down the tree in the story, he was going to do it for the sake of Allah.
No, or what I'm asking you is, in general speaking, what is for the sake of Allah?
I mean, what is for the sake of Allah?
Right.
And I'm gonna tell you something. It gets odd with that because that's one of the things that I fear the most. And in regards to why we do things.
Okay.
There was a famous, there's one of the hadiths when it speaks about a man who will be questioned on why he died in jihad, and he will say that he died for the sake of Allah, and he will be told that no, he died for the fame and the many things that the earthly things that he died for, and he's dragged to hell. And there's a man who will, I believe, is memorize the Quran or memorize hadith, and Allah forgive me if I'm wrong. I encourage Muslims to go back and research everything I say because that's how you increase your knowledge. You may read something else that may stick. But there's another person who is greatly knowledgeable in Islam, and it said to him, why did you learn these things? And he said for the sake of Allah. And it said to him, no, you learned these things, for the sake of people to say that you are a learned man, and he's dragged to hell. And this is something that plagued me for a long time, and it continues to plague me because I say to myself, what do I make from this story?
Right.
Do I make from this story is like, when I get to that point, if I'm being asked about things that I've done, to say, well, I sin you, Allah, then I don't want to answer that question because you know what's in my heart and I don't.
Right.
And at the same token, I look at that and I say to myself, I don't know why I do these things. You know, I don't know why I do things. I enjoy doing these things. So is it for the sake of Allah, or is it because I love doing it? You know, so for me, that is a very hard question to answer. What is the sake of Allah? You know, I don't. To honestly tell you the truth, I don't know. I know that my character is online with my beliefs at the time that I'm in right now, and I say alhamdulillah to that. But I don't know in regards to if it's for the sake of Allah. I believe, you know, that it's just a scary topic for me to even say, or you know, to give my answer on that.
Okay. Well, I would like us to take the time out to view this film regarding the Sahaba. It's coming from the Sahaba series. It's it says it's the complete Sahaba series. And just take a look at these discussions about the Sahaba. And, you know, as the viewers or listeners are listening, the things that that I would like to try to, you know, point out is what can we see out of what we hear about the Sahaba that we can absorb in our lives today. If we, and we do, but if people who are to understand are to believe that that the Quran, that the life of the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, that his Sahaba, that all this is the core of a universal message, the last message. How can we see that in the example or the behaviors of the Sahaba? Okay, and we will begin like that.
And to establish his religion.
Excellence in battle is that he destroyed a legendary warrior by the name of Amr ibn Abd Wud. This man was a legendary warrior. If he just said his name, that was it. If he said, I'm Amr ibn Abd Wud, nobody wanted to go out to fight him.
Until next time, I look forward to hearing from you again.
And he was someone that was so scaring. He was such a fierce warrior that the people used to scare their children.
And inshallah, we will talk again.
You know, it's not like the Cookie Monster's in your closet. He's in your closet. Well, the Cookie Monster's not that scary, actually. But Amr ibn Abdi Wud is in your closet. He's under your bed. You better watch out. They used to scare people with Amr ibn Abdi Wud. And so he was a fierce horseman, and he came out to the Muslims in the Battle of Khandaq.
He asked, Man yubariz, who wants to duel, who wants to fight? And no one came out to him because he's Amr ibn Abd Wud. Nobody goes out to him. And there were fantastic warriors in the army, in the Muslim army, but none of them went out to him. So then the Prophet ﷺ asked, who will go out to him? And Ali radiallahu anhu got up. He wants to go out and fight this legendary warrior. Ali radiallahu anhu was a young man at the time. So the Prophet ﷺ tells him no. So then again the Prophet ﷺ asks, who will go out to him? And Ali radiallahu anhu gets up. The Prophet ﷺ tells him no. And again he asks, and Ali gets up, and he tells him, the Prophet ﷺ tells him, I'm afraid that he might kill you. And Ali radiallahu anhu says, rather I will kill him, insha'Allah. The Prophet ﷺ tells him, Innahu Amrun ya Ali. This is Amr. You know who this is, the legendary warrior. And Ali radiallahu anhu says, Wa in kan, even if it is.
And when Ali walks up to this huge man, you know, this person that is truly a scary individual who has so much armor on him that it would take forever to even get to him. Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu, he walks up to him and the man looks at him. Amr ibn Abdi Wud looks at him and he says, Ya ibn akhi, oh son of my brother, la urid an aqtulak. I don't want to kill you. I want to kill one of the grand leaders of the Muslims. I don't want to kill you. You're just a kid. You're the son of my brother, Abu Talib. And Ali radiallahu anhu says, no, but you don't understand. I want to kill you. So a battle ensues between the two.
They started fighting and they were extremely fast, both of them. They would fight and they started to go in circles as they're swinging and clashing swords, and started to go in circles and kicking up dust. So there was so much dust that they couldn't see what's happening. The Muslims just didn't know what is going on. They just saw dust and they could hear swords smashing in the middle of that dust bowl. And then suddenly from the middle of the dust they heard Allahu Akbar. And Ali radiallahu came out and he killed the legendary Amr ibn Abd Wud.
And whenever he came back to the Muslims, Umar ibn al-Khattab radiallahu anhu, he asked Ali radiallahu anhu, he said, how come you didn't take his armor? He had so much armor, why didn't you take his armor? He said, because whenever I struck him, his awra became exposed and I was too shy to take from his armor. Subhanallah, so he left him in that situation. But this shows you this man's tawakkul, his courage. أَنَا الَّذِي سَمَّتْهُ أُمُّ حَيْضَرَ. He says, I am the one who's never named him a lion.
But we want to talk about the Khilafah, because some people argue that he should have been the first one to be the Khalifa. But when you examine text, you don't find any such indication. You don't find any problem with the believers as to who should have been the successor of the Prophet ﷺ. It was very clear to everyone who it was. It was narrated from his son, Muhammad ibn Hanafiya. He said, I said to my father, meaning Ali ibn Abi Talib, which of the people is the best after the Prophet ﷺ? Now he wants to know, this young man wants to know from his father, who's the best after the Prophet ﷺ? So now Ali radiallahu anhu tells him, Abu Bakr. He says, I asked, then whom? He said, Umar. And then he says, this is now Muhammad ibn Hanafiya, his son. He said, I was worried that he's going to say Uthman. Why? Why was he worried that he was going to say Uthman specifically? Because he knew Uthman was number 3. So he wanted his father to say himself. So he says, so I asked him, then you? And Ali radiallahu anhu, out of his humility, he said, I am just a man from among the Muslims. But we know the position of Ali radiallahu anhu. But out of his humility, of course, that's what he would say. And this is narrated in Sahih al-Bukhari. It's interesting that Ali radiallahu anhu actually pledged to Abu Bakr when Abu Bakr became the Khalifa, because now people claim that Ali should have been the Khalifa. And interestingly also, after Ali radiallahu anhu finally becomes the Khalifa, he never says, this is my rightful place, and the people before me cheated me, and this is, he's now the Khalifa, he can say what he wants. Never, you don't ever see this. So more and more you look at it, you see that this is just some creation that came many years later and did not exist at that time. And if it existed at that time, there'd be a lot of evidence to indicate that.
And Ali radiallahu anhu, he ordered the people to be united, not to spill blood in his cause, but to come together, and that dua came true. We ask Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala to have mercy on Ali radiallahu ta'ala anhu, and to join us with him and the other great companions in the companionship of the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam in the highest level of Jannat al-Firdaus.
Bilal ibn Rabah was a person who was cut off from the society around him. He was a foreigner from Africa, going through servitude with one of the worst figures in Mecca, Umayyah ibn Khalaf, one of the tyrants of Quraysh. Nevertheless, he became Muslim. A foreigner, a slave, enslaved by one of the most oppressive men in Quraysh, and he still had the courage to say, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammadan Rasulullah. In fact, one of the Sahaba says, every single one of the weak among the Sahaba did give in at one point or another to the demands of the people of Quraysh, except Bilal. He never compromised. He never gave in, even though they were excused under coercion. In the state of Ikrah, if you're forced, if you're coerced, then Allah Azza wa Jal would excuse you. But Bilal ibn Rabah never gave in. So Umayyah ibn Khalaf would have him starve for an entire day, deprive him of food. And then he would send him out at noontime to the deserts surrounding Mecca. He would have him lay on his bare back on the hot sand
until the flesh of his back would melt. If the streets of Mecca could speak, they would tell you that these are the streets where Bilal would be dragged until his skin would peel from his body, and then they would beat him with their sticks, and they would pelt him with stones. And what would Bilal say? He would say, Ahad, one Allah, Ahad, one Allah. Then they would, in the sweltering heat of the Arab Peninsula, for those who have been, they would make him lie down, and then they would put a rock upon his chest. and it would feel as though his ribs are being crushed. And then they would say, "Oh Bilal, denounce your religion." And he would say, "Ahad, Ahad." They would say, "Bilal, believe in Lat and Uzza." And Bilal radiallahu anhu would say, "My tongue can't say those words. My tongue can't say those words."
Later on, the Muslims would ask Bilal, how come that was your slogan, Ahadun Ahad? I mean, why did you particularly choose that word to repeat again and again? What did Bilal say? He said, because I realized that that is the word that angers Umayyah the most. He wasn't trying to appease Umayyah ibn Khalaf. He wasn't trying to ease the pain on him. He said that word made him the most angry, and that's why I was saying it again and again. Ahadun Ahad. I really pray to Allah Azza wa Jalla that Allah gives us that spirit, which we have lost. Abu Bakr as-Siddiq radiallahu anhu, he went out of Mecca to the punishment spot of Bilal.
And he went to Umayyah bin Khalaf, and he said to Umayyah bin Khalaf, he said, "Send me Bilal." And Umayyah bin Khalaf said, "Yeah, I'll sell him to you because you're the one who corrupted him in the first place." So Abu Bakr said, "How much you gonna sell him for?" And he said, "I'll sell him for 10 gold coins." And Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu went home and he bought back 10 gold coins and he gave them to Umayyah. And Umayyah began to laugh. And Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu said, "Oh Umayyah, what are you laughing for?" And Umayyah said, "Abu Bakr, I swear by Allah, if you had haggled with me and you had offered me 1 gold coin for Bilal, I would have sold him for 1 gold coin." And Abu Bakr radiallahu anhu turned to Umayyah and he said, "Oh Umayyah, I swear by Allah, if you had haggled with me and you had asked me for 100 gold coins for Bilal, I would have given you 100 gold coins."
So he bought Bilal, so now Bilal is the ownership of Abu Bakr. He immediately freed him. Now you're free. Later on the Sahaba would say, "Sayyiduna a'taqa Sayyidana." The noble man has freed our noble man. Abu Bakr has freed Bilal. Both of them are Sada. Both of them are noble men. Bilal ibn Rabah, the slave, was considered to be among the nobility of the Muslims. The mu'adhin of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, one of the great mujahideen. Sayyiduna a'taqa Sayyidana.
And then came the battle of Badr. And Umayyah bin Khalaf had no intention in participating in this battle. No intention. And one of the other mushrikeen, Uqba bin Mu'id, he went into Umayyah and he threw him a piece of coal. He said, "Go and cook like a woman cooks at home because you're not going to fight in the battle." And Umayyah said, "May Allah disfigure your face." It's like saying, go home and wear a skirt. And Umayyah said, "May Allah disfigure your face." Now Umayyah was forced to go into the battlefield. And Umayyah went into the battlefield. In every single battle, the Muslims had a slogan. Every battle. You know what the slogan in this battle was? Ahad, Ahad. One Allah, one Allah. This must have shook Umayyah. And after the battle, Umayyah was taken as a prisoner and Bilal radiallahu anhu saw him. And Bilal said, "Umayyah Ra'sul Kufr, the pinnacle of Kufr. Ma najawtu in najah. I will not survive if he survives. Either he lives or I live." And he moved up, he pushed Abdurrahman ibn Auf out of the way and he struck Umayyah and he killed him. And whilst he was killing him, what did he say? Ahad, Ahad. One Allah, one Allah.
Khalid said, "I have attended all of these battles against Muhammad, and in every situation I attend, I leave with this feeling in my heart that I am putting my effort in something that is wasted and that in the end Muhammad will prevail." So he had this deep feeling in his heart that what he's doing is wrong. There's something wrong with it. And that this man will be victorious and will prevail. He said, until Hudaybiyah came, he said, I led a contingent of kuffar, 200 men, and Rasulullah ﷺ and the Muslims were praying Salatul Dhuhr. He said, I was face to face. I met Muhammad ﷺ face to face while they were praying. And that was my opportunity to attack them in Salah.
So he's seen that the people have come with just their weapons, and even their weapons, their swords, they have kept them closed to show that we haven't come for warfare, we come for peace. These are the first moments that made Khalid ibn Walid begin to think. These are devoted individuals who've come here to us, and we can slay them all. We can slay them all, but they've come here for what purpose? So in his frustration, he began to think that there must be something special these individuals who take such a risk to come here in front of us today in this number without their weapons, seeking peace, knowing that we could possibly attack them and to kill them as well. This began to play on his mind and began to think that maybe the deen that I'm following is the wrong deen. The way of life that I'm following is the wrong life. Everybody around me is moving towards this faith. Just because he had elements of silliness or foolishness inside his life, there was also still elements of what? Wisdom and understanding and recognizing the truth.
He said, so Salah finished. I didn't take that opportunity. So I decided that I'm going to attack them in Salat al-Asr. He said by the time they came to pray Asr, Rasulullah was already praying Salat al-Khawf. Salah where half of the army prays and half of them protects the rest. فَعَلِمْتُ أَنَّ الرَّجُلَ مَمْنُوعًا. I knew that this man is being protected.
Now he had a total different burning desire. His burning desire now was that every single moment I've spent, every slash, every cut, every spilling of blood that I've done on the Muslims, now I want to turn that back. I want to show my devotion and my allegiance to Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala, and then the Prophet Muhammad said that I am a sincere believer, and the efforts I want to now show the people and Muslims around me in my new unique faith.
One of the leaders of the Romans, he wanted to meet with Khalid ibn Walid, so he came. So they met each other. Bahan said, we heard that you came out in search of booty because you are very hungry and destitute people. So I'm offering you 10 dinar each for every soldier, in addition to a set of clothes and food, and next year we'll give you the same.
Okay, he's taunting them. He's not saying it in a respectful manner. And he's saying that, look, and next year come back and I'll give you the same stipend again. So, obviously, this enraged them. This enraged them and enraged people like Khalid ibn Walid, that this person taunt us in this manner and say this about us. So he sent out a message and said that hunger has not brought you out, as you have mentioned. Yes, we are hungry. وَلَكِنَّنَا قَوْمًا نَشْرَبُ الدِّمَاءِ. We are hungry and we are people who love to drink blood. And we have heard that the sweetest blood is the blood of the Romans. Don't try that though. So now Khalid ibn Walid has built himself a great big reputation amongst the Muslims and non-Muslims, that wherever Khalid ibn Walid goes, he is the general to fight under.
Because later on when the battle started, a man who is mentioned in Tabari as Jarjah, which most likely is George, he was one of the Roman generals. During the fighting, he came to Khalid ibn Walid and he said, I want to meet you. So they met. Jarjah said, I'm going to ask you in the name of God, and I want you to tell me the truth and don't lie to me. Khalid ibn Walid said, I will tell you the truth. He said, is it true that your prophet has received a sword from God and then he gave it to you?
So that was the name. Saifullah became his title, became known by that name, by the people around him, to such a degree that some of the enemies, they literally thought that from the heavens a sword came down. So the Saifullah, they took it, sword of Allah, meaning that from the heavens a special sword came down and was given to Khalid ibn Walid. And obviously he would laugh about that. That's what they're thinking, that literally a sword came down and was given to him. He was only given this title because of his encouragement or his devotion, his commitment. هل أنزل الله على نبيكم سيفا من السماء. So that's why one of the Romans, he mentioned that did Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala send down a sword to your prophet and then give it to you, فَأَعْطَاكَ إِيَّاهُ, then he gave you that sword that you should physically go and fight.
He said, no, that's not true. He told me, you are a sword among the swords of Allah. Thus I was named the sword of Allah according to that, for I am the harshest of the Muslims against the polytheists. So George asked Khalid bin Walid, he said, and if somebody becomes Muslim, what's their status among you? He said, you become one of us, equal to us. Jarja said, so there's no seniority. If a person becomes a latecomer into the religion, they're equal to the ones who have been Muslim before. Khalid bin Walid said, and you become better. He said, how can that be? Khalid bin Walid said, because we have seen the miracles of Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. We've witnessed them with our own eyes. But for you, you have not met Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, you've not seen him, and you did not see his miracles. Nevertheless, you become a Muslim. That gives you a higher status. So George said, what does one have to do if he wants to become a Muslim? He said, you say, Ashhadu an la ilaha illallah wa ashhadu anna Muhammad Rasulullah. He repeated those words, and he turned around, and he fought onside the Muslims, and he died in that battle as a shaheed.
Dear brothers and sisters, Umar is a special person. We said that the unique thing about Abu Bakr was his iman. With Umar ibn Khattab, it's his personality. He had a unique personality. History does not produce men like Umar. Rasulullah ﷺ said, and this hadith is in Bukhari and Muslim, if there's going to be a prophet after me, it would be Umar.
Majority of his nights, he would walk the streets of Medina Munawwara. He would walk the outskirts of Medina Munawwara. He would walk into the Bedouin desert areas outside of Medina. And he would ask the people, he would ask the poor about their concerns. And wallahi, his vision was that not a single person should be left hungry, and that Umar ibn Khattab be asleep. So he would say that Umar ibn Khattab will not sleep until every single stomach is full. Subhanallah. He was a man who would walk the streets himself. So on this one occasion, Umar ibn Khattab radiallahu anhu is walking towards a place called Harra. And he has his servant with him known as Aslam. So they're walking in the distance, and they see a fire being kindled. They see a flame. So they walk towards this flame. And there was a lady with a number of children. So Umar ibn Khattab approaches her, and he asks her for permission. And he says, Assalamu alaikum, my sister.
She responded, she said, Alaikum assalam. He said,